Okay, Michael, we're going to look at your second serve. I have a lot to say here, but probably very little of it's going to be news. At any rate, so the first thing we're going to see is that you do the same thing with the feet on the second serve as you do on the first. So my recommendation to correct that is the same, that is to start from this wider stance and to go from there. The second point is that just as in the first serve, you hit the ball too far back, and you also let it drop too low. Now part of that is because you're obviously not jumping and not really putting any power from the legs into the movement. Now if you don't believe, which you probably do, that a second serve and a first serve should both involve making contact in front of the body, let's take a look at Sampras, where this is his first serve and the contact point is out here where the little diamond is, or star, cross, whatever. And then here is the second serve, and you can see that in both he's making contact out in front of his body. So the point of contact and obviously the level of jump and effort that you put into it from the legs, as well as that the stance that you jump out of, are what are going to need to change. Now, how do you bring it in? You're obviously scared to hit the shot, so it's a matter of how do we bring it in. Let's look at it from the rear. Okay? I know you know about topspin, but what I want to show you actually is where you're making contact on the left-right axis. Notice that you're making contact with the ball not only sort of behind you or over your head, but also rather to the right, in line with your shoulder. That's not nearly far enough to the left. If we take a look at Pete Sampras' contact point, well, that's not Pete Sampras, but that's somebody else. That's not what we want, actually. This is what we want. We take a look at Pete Sampras' contact point on the first versus the second serve. Now, he's extreme in terms of how far to the left he is, but the point is that you should be farther to the left on your second serve than on your first, because the extra kick is going to come from that. So if we compare this to your first serve, can we do that? We can, but I've got to get it up. Here it is. Now that's actually your first serve, I'm sorry. So let's look at your second serve. Sorry. So there's your first serve point on the right. Everything I said was valid as information. Take a look at where the second serve contact is. Well, it is a little bit more to the left, but still not really enough. And notice that the arm, in neither case, is completely straight. The arm should be straight at contact, right? If we look back at Pete, you can see that in both cases, the racket head is angled in his hand, not straight up and down. It's angled more on the second serve than on the first serve, but in both cases it's angled. Here on your first serve, it's angled maybe very slightly. It's angled a little bit more, but possibly not enough. And you obviously are not jumping, and the arm is bent. Let's look at Federer from the back. Here, rear view of Federer. And notice the leg bend is the same as when he serves from the side. And the launch is the same. He makes contact with a straight arm, and with the racket head going out this way, you notice he has the same angle of the racket in his hand as Sampras had. And he finishes on the left side of his body. You are putting so little weight into your second serve that, look, you're finishing on the right side of the body. So the point being that you know what you need to do in your second serve. You need to start with a flat stance and work on your point of contact on both the first and second serve. But in addition, on the second serve, you need to jump, bend your knees, and hit the ball. And the way you're going to bring it in is by bringing that toss more to the left and by angling the racket in your hand a little bit more to increase the top spin. If you do that, the harder you swing and the more you jump, the more accurate your serve will be. And certainly the more effective.